All right. So welcome, Jorge. We're very
Hi,
excited to have you
Victoria.
here. Yeah. I already know you, obviously, but the rest of the peeps that we make movies are going to get to know you a little bit tonight. So first, I just want to do the trailer for the film that you just shot, and then we'll get into some questions with you. So I know Tori was also in the film. So yeah, she'll join us in the conversation. Anybody else that was in the film. But Michael, if we could share the screen and watch the trailer, and then we will start the interview.
As you're all aware, we are indeed living in troubling times. Murders and suicides and other criminal activity are rampant. We are designating the term atrophins to identify these people.
I'm not following. Please try to explain this to me, please.
Look, this is gonna sound crazy, okay, but I was contacted by someone.
Who?
I don't know. I honestly don't know who he is, but he knows things that he shouldn't know. He told me Dad is in danger.
Where the hell am I?
He looked at me kind of funny, like he's not the same person, like he's a completely different man.
To those of you who are at high risk, we are asking that you voluntarily come to these facilities.
I guess it's time for the obligatory toast from the host. I just want to thank my boss. Senator Ted DeMarcos is here.
Don't forget, early voting starts in a week, so get out there and re-elect me, okay?
That's my boss.
Digital mapping of the human brain conclusively shows us that the brain consists of hundreds of billions of neurons that form a network of exceptional complexity. Unfortunately, we have to admit we still know little about these connections and interconnections. And we've all heard the horrible news that suicides and homicides and mass murders continue to spread due to some unidentified dysfunction.
For the past 3,000 years or so, we've been trying to better understand the mind-body connection, but we've been pretty limited in our ability to answer many of the problems and the questions that plague us. But we can't explain everything the brain does and why. But there's much, much more to it than that. How do you explain love? And why do we hate? Why do we cry? Why does that dream we had last night seem so realistic? What is consciousness? What is reality? Your eyes see, your brain chemistry reacts, and this becomes your reality. But is everyone's reality the same? Is my reality the same as yours? Our current investigations indicate that some of the patients we're seeing are experiencing altered perceptions. But we can't explain why this is happening.
Okay, so yeah, that is the trailer for the latest film that some of us had the pleasure to work on. And just give like a brief bio for you. There's tons and tons of things that I can say, but I'm just gonna go with some snippets here. So you are award-winning productive author, filmmaker, actor, activist. You started your professional career in your late teens. At 18, you were actually selected to participate in the Walt Disney College program. You worked with departments in marketing for New Line Cinema, Paramount, Columbia Pictures. You worked at Richard Gere's production company, Wendy Feiderman's production at TriStar Pictures. I can go on and on and on. You've been doing this for a while, and we're excited to have you. So I guess I want to just start getting into some of the questions here. So we just watched the trailer for Altered Perceptions, and I just kind of want to know a little bit about how that came to be, and just a little bit like the story behind it. Briefly, if you could share that with us.
Absolutely. First of all, I'd like to thank We Make Movies for having me as your guest this evening. Also wanted to mention Oren, the star of our film, is also there. But I haven't, I mean, I saw him in the listed, but I haven't seen him. Oren, are you there?
Hello, I'm here in a hotel in Wendover.
Hey.
There's our star right there.
I'm on my way home from Burning Man. It was a rough
Oh,
week out
you
there.
Oh,
made
wow.
it.
Were you stuck in the mud over there?
I didn't try to leave, but yeah, we were stuck in place. You couldn't really leave your camp for a couple days.
Well, also there's Tori and Victoria as part of the film. So how did this film come about? So I had a previous film called The Family Tree, which was shot in Panama back in 2018. And it was, unfortunately, was supposed to actually have its premiere at the Marché du Film of the Festival de Cannes back in 2020. But that was a pandemic year. We were all locked in, and the Cannes Film Festival was canceled, and so were our premiere plans with the festival. And I believe that's the first time Cannes has actually been canned. Well, actually, the second time. The first time was during World War II. So, this historic festival. I mean, pretty much nothing would cancel this festival, and the pandemic brought it to its knees and changed the course of everything. So, but we did release it online theaters because back then the theaters were closed, but they were showing films online. So we did that, and we even qualified for eligibility for the Oscars for 2021. And the film was on Amazon Prime, and a friend of mine, his name is Wayne Dees, who I had actually hired back in the 90s. He was a publicist for a film that my company was distributing called California Myth, starring Tyrone Power Jr. And we lost touch after that. He saw The Family Tree on Amazon Prime, loved it, told me, he literally chatted me up on Messenger saying how much he loved the movie. And he had this script idea and he wanted to talk to me about it. So I didn't realize he was a neuropsychologist because I knew him as a publicist. And but then we had lost touch over 20 something years. So he resurfaces me with this project that I read and thought, wow, this thing is really amazing and very ambitious too, and very relevant to what's happening today. And I said, well, what do you want to do with this? And he was like, well, what do you think we can do with it? And I was like, well, I would love to see it done. And next thing you know, I had signed on to direct it, and the budget just kind of came into place. And that was in February of 2022. And a month and a half later, we were shooting. We're shooting in Los Angeles, in Houston. We shot in New York as well, and the film is actually getting ready to come out. It actually, I'm going to plug it here a little bit. It actually opens at the Silicon Beach Film Festival next week, September 14th at the Chinese. We're the closing night film for the festival, and tickets are right now available. And the week after that, it opens through Laemmle Theatres. There's going to be a sneak preview on September 21st at the Laemmle Monica at 7:30. We're going to be there. I'm going to be there with my cast after the show. And then on September 22nd, we are going to be having a Q&A for after the 10:15 show at the Laemmle Glendale. So all of you who would like to come, please, you're welcome to join us. Tickets are now available for both the closing of Silicon Beach Film Festival at the Chinese and for Laemmle Theatres at laemmle.com.
Well, perfect. That's a good segue because I wanted to ask, how does one go about getting a theatrical release? How did you come about that? What are the secret ways of that?
So I'm glad you asked. I've been actually, my day job has been doing theatrical distribution. And the way it came about is when I first started with Disney, I was in a college program at age 18. I was a first semester freshman, and that was sort of a accidental, lucky type of karmic situation where it all came together because this Disney program is for graduating seniors. And the person who was recruiting for Disney at Texas Tech, which is where I went to school, was lost, and I kind of took him to the Career Placement Center, and there was this long line of people in suits. I didn't realize there were graduating seniors interviewing for this program, and I was chatting this guy's ear off about movies throughout, our journey from one side of the campus to the other. Then I found out at the end of after I got him to the Career Placement Center, that he was a person in charge of recruiting for Disney. And I guess he figured out that I was so in love with movies that he invited me to be a part of this program, me being a first semester freshman. So
Wow.
from there, I decided I want to learn as much as I could. I didn't really know what exactly I wanted to do, but I wanted to know all facets of the business because I was always amazed by film since I was a kid. I mean, I went to drive-in movie theaters and single screen movie theaters back in the 70s. And that was movies were my babysitter. My mom would drop me off early and pick me up late at night at the end of the show. And so I do have to thank movies because, she saved a lot of money and movies took care of me.
I
And
love
yeah,
it.
everything that I know, I can tell you. I mean, I have a huge collection of movies now, VHS and DVD, and everybody's like, well, "What are you doing with VHS films?" But there's a lot of film that right now is out of print that's not on DVD or you'll never see in streaming. So, so I try to keep up with everything.
I love
But it went from there to pretty much working for the studios in publicity and marketing. And I really wanted to learn the business side of film because I was a struggling actor back then, and things weren't quite working out. And I was like, if I want to do this, I need to learn how this thing works and how to get it out there. And I didn't really have any scripts with any millionaires at my door asking me to be a part of their film. So I figured, I need to open my way and find my way. And that's kind of how I did through distribution. Back then, I started to do independent films, and I figured out real quick that I was competing against the studios, which is not quite a good idea because, they're pretty much a monopoly. They've always been a monopoly. They were back then, and, they're kind of sort of now. Everything sort of changes, but that's kind of what happened. And I just fell into independent films, and I've been doing that ever since, and I absolutely love it. I love the artistry and the creativity that goes with it, and the artists that put their time and effort into their heart and soul and their art form. And yeah, that's kind of how I got into a theatrical distribution.
Oh, wow. Love it. Well, I'm just going to ask one more question before we get in to our rest of our evening, but you'll stay with us the whole time. So don't worry, everyone. But so what do you think is the most important thing to then either get your script financed or get it made or just put it into production? Because, we're discussing about the cast on a previous conversation. And so what do you think it is? Finding the right people? Is it the story, characters? What do you think?
Well, everything starts with the story. I mean, story is primal to everything. If you don't have anything without a story, actors can't act without a story. But the essence of the business today is have a good, original, solid story and know who your audience is from the get-go. And I'm talking from the gestation of your ideas. Who exactly is supposed to see this movie? What is it for? What are you trying to say, and to whom? Are very, very important elements to making a movie. I mean, I got involved with this particular film, Altered Perceptions, and what I loved about it is that Wayne was a neuropsychologist, so he's a head doctor, and I figured, I want to know more about that, and I want to know how he sees people and how people think, and that's what this whole movie's all about, is all the different perspectives that you can see. There's a reality and so many different perspectives on how you can see it. So, but the most important thing in getting your movie financed and making it story. Everything starts with the story, and know who your audience is. If you know who your audience is, it'll be easy to get it financed. It'll be easy to get the talent that you want. It'll be easy. Everything becomes very easy. Well, not that easy, but
I was
you know
going to
what
say,
I mean.
well, yeah.
Because there's nothing easy about making movies.
Easier. Yeah.
Easier, yeah.
Okay, I love it.